Where is the best place to spend your marketing dollars as a startup HVAC company in 2025? Well, in this video, we're going to break down number one, the leaky bucket revenue opportunities that are sitting right in front of you. Number two, what a good advertising budget looks like for a company of your size. And number three, the 5 best and most important channels for you to focus on. Because there's a lot of noise in the marketplace, a lot of shiny objects of things that people are saying that you should or shouldn't do. But what we found time and time again with our client roster in the home service industries is that these 5 things work incredibly well. And in fact, they'll get you started on your way to 7 figures and they'll help propel you even beyond that. So let's look at first the leaky bucket opportunities that are right in front of you. Okay. Before you start scaling up your marketing, you got to get a couple things down right. There's 3 areas of focus that I think are important to look at before you start throwing money at marketing. If you don't take care of these and you start throwing money at marketing, you're just going to be literally burning it up. And you have to make every marketing dollar count, in particular when you're just starting out. So first thing is, you got to get on top of your call answering. Calls need to be answered in 2 to 3 rings or less. All right. I've got other videos on the YouTube channel. You can check them out in the description below this video about call answering, the pros and cons of AI versus humans, or outsourcing it to somebody else to pick up the phone when you can't. You have to get call answering down. People will not wait for you to call them back. So somebody needs to be picking up this phone every single time that it rings. Even if you're getting a lot of spam, you still got to pick it up because you never know when somebody's looking for service. The second thing that you need to have in place to keep leaky buckets under control is a billing system, right? Some kind of billing software. This could be Jobber or Nice Job. There's on the higher end of things, there's like Service Titan. You need a software that's going to allow you to easily generate invoices, collect payment from customers, and that will integrate directly into QuickBooks or whatever bookkeeping software that you're using. That's the second thing. The third thing is your bookkeeping. I can't tell you how many times I've seen startups fail because they didn't have bookkeeping in place. So I don't care what the excuses might be about how expensive it might be to hire somebody to do it, but what I've found is that for a startup, you can find somebody that's very high quality for $300 to $600 a month to help you with your books so that you can focus more on the business. When the finances are taken care of, everything else flows more smoothly, and you can't do that without good bookkeeping. So now that we've answered the leaky bucket issues, we can move on to what is a healthy advertising budget? How much money should you be thinking about putting towards marketing? And how much is too much? How much is too little? You don't want to overcommit to something, and you also want to give enough for there to be a substantial payout for you. So the Small Business Association recommends that small businesses, which by the way is defined by up to 500 employees by the SBA, that's a small business. We're thinking a little bit smaller than that today. Okay, they recommend 3 to 8% of total top line revenue to be dedicated towards advertising and marketing. I've been doing this for a long time, and what I found in particular with the startups is that you need at least 5 to 10% of your top line revenue to go towards marketing. You're going to be reinvesting a lot of your profit to grow the business, to make your next few hires, okay? And in the beginning, especially if you're out in the truck and you're doing a lot of the work, your margin is going to be much higher than once you start hiring more employees and your overhead starts creeping up. So you can afford to spend a bit more on advertising than a company that's maybe 2 to 5 times your size. So if we're thinking about your business, you're under 500K, let's think about 500K, 10% of that would be $50,000 a year. That is $4,000 a month, which should be doable. Again, if you're still in the truck, your margins are going to be a lot higher. Now, on the lower end of that, we're looking at more like $25,000 a year. That might seem a lot more manageable for you, and it's a very good place to start. That's $2,000 a month. You can do a lot with $2,000 a month. And that's what we're going to focus this last part of the video on. Probably the one that you came here for, which is like, get to the point, dude. What are the marketing channels I need to account for? Let's look at it. My first and number one recommendation for marketing channels that every HVAC startup needs to be looking at and deploying are Google local service ads. This has been referred to before as Google Guaranteed, which is technically the process that you go through in order to get the little green badge that says Google Guaranteed. Okay, the program itself, though, is called Google Local Service Ads. So when you do a Google search and you see the top of the search result, the first two results, if you look at like the name of your city plus air conditioning repair, the first two results are often Google Local Service Ads. And so you can participate in this program. You can get it set up fairly easily. You don't need to be an expert like you do for regular Google ads. It's easy to control the budgets up and down. You can turn them on and off depending on seasonality or your capacity once you start hitting it. Okay. I would recommend a minimum budget of $1,000 a month. So if you're on this lower end of what we were talking about, this is going to be most of your ad spend. It might be about half of what you're deploying every single month. But what we've seen on average is that HVAC companies can get really high quality leads for anywhere from like $40 to $85 just by setting up Google local service ads. So it's an incredible place to start and will give you a lot of flexibility and not suck up all your time deploying this. The second thing that I want to mention is that you don't need search engine optimization yet. So my company, Digital Harvest, has a long history of search engine optimization being the number one thing that we're specialized at. And if you would have asked me this 2 years ago, I would have said, yes, SEO needs to be the number one thing you're starting on. But things have changed a lot as the world is changing, technologies are changing, and even like the Google ecosphere itself is rapidly evolving with AI entering the scene. And so what I would say here is don't spend or overcommit any money to search engine optimization because your competitors are way ahead of you right now. Right now, you just got to build the pipeline. You have to build your business. Local service ads will start getting people coming through the door right away. And what you can survive with for now and still look legitimate is a very simple website with a homepage and a list of your services, maybe your service area and hours and things like that, an about page that lets people know just a bit more about your company, and then a contact page where they can get in touch with you, request quotes, and so forth. That simple information is enough to get you started. You can pay like $50 a month, $100 a month to somebody to host it for you. You can pay no more than $1,000 to get this simple 3-page website up. Don't get lost in the recommendations as a startup to go all in on SEO. This is something that I'd recommend a little bit later when you have the money and the budget and the pipeline is full and healthy. The third marketing channel that I would recommend you pay close attention to is reviews. So primarily Google. Google reviews will supercharge every other type of marketing that you have because people will look your business up. That's the first thing that they see is all your Google reviews. Even if somebody's recommending you and they look you up, they're going to see the reviews. If somebody's looking you up and they find you through a search, the reviews is going to be what's going to draw them to your profile for them to check everything out and then give you a call. One of the neat things about this is that when you focus on reviews, not only does it help you get a bit more visibility for your business, but it helps the entire conversion process from the moment somebody picks up the phone to call to the resistance to schedule an estimate with you is very low. Once you go out and you see the job and you give them a quote, they're already sold. The reviews helped sell them and give them confidence to call you in the first place. So the cool thing about it is it's free to do. You can set up your own system and your own reminders in order to garner more reviews for every completed job. If you check out the description below this video, I have other videos all about reviews, how to get them the easy way, the automated way, different systems you can put in place, tons of stuff that I have on this, and I encourage you to go check that out after this video. This is a huge, important focus point for your HVAC startup. The fourth place that I'd recommend you look at is Angie's List. I can't believe I'm saying this or recommending it because I have been so against Home Advisor and Angie's List for years because it's a shared leads lead gen system, meaning that when you get a lead from Angie's List, there's like 3 to 5 of your other competitors that are also getting the same lead. It's a race to the bottom for price. You got to be quick on it or somebody else is going to get the job. It doesn't necessarily build your brand the same way that some of the other things we're talking about do, but I've seen it as kind of like a necessary evil for startups. So the idea with Angie's List here is that you use it to get some really cheap leads, some great opportunities into your pipeline. And I would only budget maybe 25% of your total budget towards this. So this, along with the local service ads, will make up the majority of your advertising budget. And it's going to get you leads. It's going to keep you busy. At a certain point, you will turn this off and you'll be working more towards building your own pipeline and not relying on Angie's. But it is a good place for a lot of folks to start and begin filling their pipeline. The fifth place that I think a lot of people don't recommend, which is kind of crazy to me, is a little bit of local networking, and in particular through a network called BNI, Business Networking International. Now, people can say what they want about BNI, but for an HVAC company and a startup company, this is like the easiest way for you to get more referrals and get business going right away. All you need to do is show up consistently to the meetings, take time to get to know the other members, and they will start referring you. It doesn't take that much effort versus other professions for BNI to start generating results for you. When you go to look for a group to join, I'll look for groups that have one or more real estate professionals. If you could get somebody, a group that's got a residential and a commercial real estate professional, that's a huge home run. Every group's going to have at least one. You want to look for groups that have a property manager because they're going to feed you business all the time. And the third, criteria I look at is groups that have some folks in there with adjacent categories to you. So if there's a solar company that's in there, a general contractor, or a roofer, those are professions that are going to automatically be talking to your customer base and making those referral opportunities. And so don't sleep on something like BNI because it is well worth the, 3 to 4 hours you have to take out of your week in order for it to be effective and successful. It's well worth the pipeline and the relationships that you're going to build that'll continue to pay you and your business in the future. So in summary here, you got to be scrappy with your money and you can only invest in things that are going to get you a return. You got to avoid spending money on things like sponsoring a golf tournament or a high school football team. That's just not going to generate the lead flow that you need to scale the business up. You only have so much time, right? So you need leverage. You need to use these things that I've talked about that you can set and forget, and investing the time into local partnerships and relationships is going to pay off for you for years to come. If you're a local startup HVAC company, you want to take your business to the next level, we can certainly help. So if you go to the description below this video, I mentioned we've got a ton of other resources for you to tap into. You can also book a time with one of our strategists and see how we might help you get to the next level. Some of these things you can offload to our business while you continue to scale and just take care of it for you, help you get the phones ringing, keep you busy, and then work towards your next big milestone. So with that, I appreciate you for checking out our video. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you like this video, you'll probably like the rest of them on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and check them out, subscribe for more, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye for now.